Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Cooking Up. I'm Chef Darwin. Meatloaf. That's what we're doing tonight. So, going to use the stand mixer, the old KitchenAid, gotta love it, with the grinder attachment. Now, this isn't just for meat. You can use this for veggies to make a salsa. You can use it for meat to make ground meat out of whole meat. Okay, what we're doing here is we're securing the cutting sheet to the butcher block. I don't want to put raw meat on the butcher block, so I secure with a wet paper towel the cutting mat. And wash your hands before you go handling any foods. It's standard fare. Safety. You want to be safe. That is the plunger attachment for the grinder, so everything will flow to the blades. There's a spindle unit in there, or an impeller, if you will, and blades, and that helps get the object you're grinding closer to it. That would be pepper, freshly cracked black pepper, salt, and seasoned salt. Those containers there are from St. Thomas down in the Caribbean, and that is just seasoned salt. We're going to season the meat before it goes into the grinder so it is mixed thoroughly throughout the meat. Okay, get yourself a trusty dusty blade, good and sharp. You want to cube the meat so it will fit into the grinder. I don't like to take too much of the fat. This is actually a pork loin chops that we're using here, and just cutting them lengthwise and then into cubes so they'll fit down the old tube a little bit better. And I like to leave some of the fat intact for extra flavor in the meatloaf. Okay, now that you have it all diced up, or when you have it all diced up, wash again so you aren't grabbing your seasonings with meat covered hands. Seasoned salt to taste. It is your choice on how much you want to put on there. You can even spice it up if you want to throw red pepper flakes in there. You can throw whatever seasonings you want to in there. I was going simple because I will add some accoutrement to the meatloaf a little bit later. Salt and pepper again to taste. Mix it around, get it thoroughly mixed so it's on every piece. That way when it does go through the grinder, it will distribute evenly, as it were. Okay, you're going to need a bowl to catch the fallout, what comes out of the grinder. You will need a bowl there. And plus you want your ground pork, in this case, in the bowl ready for mixing. I'm setting my my mixer on a speed of about 3, just because it sounds cool to me. You don't have to set it there if you don't want to. You can put it up to 10 if you want, or put an 11 on it. If you need an 11, go for it. And before long, you start to see ground pork coming out the other end. They do make a sausage attachment for this, so you could make your own sausages, realistically, but I'm going for ground meat for my meatloaf. And this is when you use the plunger attachment, stuffing the meat down in there. Okay, now we have approximately 1 pound of pork, and now I'm adding a pound of ground beef, approximately, what is that? It's about 80-20. I like to leave a little fat in there for flavor, because that is where the flavor of meat comes from, is from the marbling. And 80-20, as we all know, is the fat to meat ratio, 20% fat to 80% lean meat. And I'm using a fork. Fork mixing a meatloaf is very, very important, because I myself do not like a very dense meatloaf. I like a little bit more of a fluffy meatloaf, using the word fluffy for lack of a better word. So a fork keeps it from being mushed and turning dense. And now the accoutrement, the mise en place for the meatloaf, Worcestershire sauce. Again, Worcestershire sauce. I think I was trying to get the right camera angle there. We have an egg. I actually use 2 eggs in this mixture. 1 egg per pound, basically. Breadcrumbs, homemade breadcrumbs. Green chilies. Half a large onion and a large garlic clove. I use the elephant garlic because to me it just has a better flavor. Notice I have switched cutting mats. This one is also secured with a moist paper towel. I don't like to cross-contaminate. You shouldn't cross-contaminate. I definitely don't like to. So the cutting mat has been changed. The knife has been washed, and we're just going to put a small dice on this onion. Nice and easy. Use a good sharp knife and you won't cry. Again, just a small dice. That way it'll cook quicker while it's in the meatloaf and spread its taste throughout if it's done in a small dice. Bigger pieces, the flavor won't go throughout the meatloaf. Now the garlic, give that a good whack to break open the paper and the shell, pull that off of there. And you could mince this with a knife, but I think I have a better way of dispersing the flavor throughout. And that is, when I figure out what I'm reaching for, I'll show you. My grater. My cheese grater with a small grating side. Not the large grating side, the small. You don't really want big chunks of garlic in your meatloaf, but you want garlic flavor. So get that all grated up nice. Bring your meat mixture back over, and the order you do this doesn't matter. I just happen to start with the green chilies, throw those in there. That was probably 2 tablespoons of green chilies because there are some people that don't like it that spicy. Add your onions and your garlic. And again, you see I'm still working with the fork. Do not like a dense meatloaf, as I said. Get that all in there. Your eggs will go in. I only show you 1, but I do use 2. Make sure you get everything nice and mixed. And remember, you've already seasoned the pork, so salt and pepper, not so important right now. You get a little salt from the Worcestershire sauce. About a tablespoon will do it. And again, go ahead and mix with a fork. Check your texture. That is a, I think that's a half a cup I have there. And you might not use a full half a cup of breadcrumbs. This is by eye, so put in some. Start with a 1/4 cup if you feel that might be enough, and give it a mix. You'll be able to tell when it's done mixing by feeling it, and how if it's fairly dry to the touch, yet you can still form it, it's good. Then you won't need the rest of the breadcrumbs. Okay, when it comes to a pan, I will not use a loaf pan because that creates a dense meatloaf. What I've done is I've taken a hotel pan, covered it in tin foil, and then sprayed the tin foil to prevent any sticking from the meatloaf. Now take your mixture, meat and ingredients and seasonings, and just dump that into the pan. Make sure you get all those little bits of flavor out of that bowl. And with the digits, with the tools God gave you, form that baby into any shape you want. You could customize it, turn it into a heart for your loved ones. I just went with the loaf look. But you don't want to push too hard, or otherwise you're going to get a dense meatloaf. Now, to go along with the green chilies that I've put in there, I'm using a Southwestern spicy mustard to top it with. Because I would normally go barbecue sauce, but there are family members that do not like barbecue sauce. Now, in your oven, you're going to want to take a pan, fill it with about 1 inch of water, and cook that, or don't cook that, put that below on the lower rack of your oven below where you'll be cooking the meatloaf to keep moisture in the oven and keep from drying out the meatloaf. I usually cook my meatloaf on the middle, the center rack, if you will. And there it is, all prepared for its sauna trip. 350 degrees for about an hour and 15 minutes. Beautiful. There we go. Hour and 15. That should cut it perfectly. There you have the finished product. Meatloaf with a southwestern flair, or kick, if you will. Did we like it? Let's find out. That's pretty good. Oh, the wife. It's yummy, she says. Awesome. Thanks for watching Cooking Up. See you next time. Bye-bye now.